Hello from windy Naxos. So if you've been following me for any length of time, you know that I love coming to Naxos. It's one of my favorite places in Greece. And so I come at least once a year, and usually I stay for a long period of time. This year I've come a little bit later, and while sometimes in October you can still swim and do things in the sea, it's a little bit too windy, so that way when you get out it's too cold. It is going to improve over the weekend, yay. But I wanted to talk to you about what you can do on a Greek island in the fall. Not just like, oh, the weather is weird, but like what to do if you're here and you get stuck in one of these situations. Because there were a lot of people who were on my ferry who were like, what happened? It's not warm, because Greece is not warm all year round. Obviously, Naxos has things that are open longer, so you can do a bit of shopping, and this is the case in a lot of the Greek islands. I did notice that on Sifnos, some of the villages didn't really open up until the evening, so if you come to a village and it seems extremely quiet, come back in the evening, because it may have a whole different vibe and there might be more things to do. Going down in Naxos to Hora is a good option because it keeps you out of the wind. As you can hear and see, it's not super windy in these little alleyways. It's also a great time of year to do the shopping because almost everything is on sale. So it's good if you need a deal or you want a deal. Who doesn't want a deal? But it's a good time for that. And of course, if you're walking around in the old town of Naxos, it's great to walk around and just look at all the different little architectural elements, because it is a winding sort of maze in here and there are lots of beautiful things to see. You can walk all the way up to the castle, which I will probably do later. It's too windy for that today. The further you go up, the more windy it is, so I suggest staying down low, do your shopping, look at the pretty alleyways, take your photos, and then on a non-windy day, go to the top. If you're in Naxos for more than a few days, I recommend walking around in the old town multiple times, because you're going to find things that you didn't see the time before. I have walked the streets of the Castro in Naxos hundreds of times, and I still love doing it every time I come, and I usually do it multiple times. And almost every time I do it, I find a different thing, or I see something in a different way. This happens a lot if you walk from a different direction, and you just have to see what you can see. And there are stunning views up here as well. The other thing I want to say is that you probably will get lost at some point, because it can be a little bit confusing in there, but that's actually the beauty of it. Go around, get lost, do it a few times. It's worth it. And now I'm going to go do the thing in the afternoon that a lot of Greek people do, which is I'm gonna go have a coffee and I'm gonna sit and watch Naxos go by, and then we'll see what else I get up to on this windy Naxos day. What's great is even though it's windy, it's really not that cold, and in the sun, it's perfect. Actually, even walking around, I'm a little bit sweaty. But it's one of those days where you're gonna leave the house in a jacket and then take it off halfway through the day, and then probably on the way back, you're going to put it back on. But those are kind of nice though. Time for a very late lunch. I've come down to the beach because the wind direction has shifted, so it's not blowing into town so much. As you can see, the waves are really high because of it, and there are a few people who are swimming. I don't know how, but that's okay. It is warm. It's just once you get out and you're wet, it's cold. Look at that. Does that look amazing? It's like this chicken mushroom risotto with lime in it, and it's always really great. If the weather is not cold and it's sunny but windy and you don't want to swim, you can still go for a nice walk on the beach, because let me tell you, there's nothing more soothing than the sound of the waves when it's windy. You can probably hear it. It's amazing. And if you can have lunch on the beach, if it's not so cold, then it's perfect. Good morning, guys. It's now Saturday, and it was supposed to get warmer today and be less windy. Well, in typical Greek fashion, it's still windy and it's not any warmer. So it is about 18 degrees Celsius, which is about, I think, 66 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's not cold, it's just the wind feels a little bit chillier today than it did yesterday even. So, but I did come down to my favorite beach here in Naxos called Agios Prokopios. I have rented a car for the weekend just so I could get out. The bus schedule in the fall is a little bit less, and so if you want to like hit as many things as possible, sometimes renting a car is a good idea. It's actually really nice to see it with almost no sunbeds on it. It's even more beautiful than when all the sunbeds are down here. The water, as you can see, is super clear. Even in the wind, it's super clear. It's an extremely clean beach, and it's got this nice soft golden sand, and I love it. It's perfect, and it's deep enough that you can swim, and like some Greek beaches where it's super shallow and you have to walk really far out to get to the part that you can swim, but here it's really nice. Now, if you want to see what it looks like in the summer, many years ago, before I was really good at YouTube, I made a video about it, and I will link it down in the description box below. Alright, we're now on Plaka Beach, which seems to be a little bit warmer than some of the other beaches. So if you're here in the fall and you want to go swimming, the beach seems to be warmer. The water is still pretty chilly, but I think on a normal year it wouldn't be so cold. Usually I've swam in Naxos to the end of the month of October, and then I have friends that swim all year. So it just depends on what you like. The good thing about all the beaches on this side of the island is the bus comes, and it comes really often in the summer to these beaches, and it goes back to town. So you don't have to worry about staying on the beach here. You can stay in town for all the stuff to do at night, and then you can take the bus down here for during the day. Okay, yeah, even I'm putting my feet in the water, and it's warmer over here than it is in Agios Prokopios, so keep that in mind if you're coming to swim in October. I have to say I'm a little disappointed that the weather forecast wasn't so accurate today. It wasn't supposed to be so windy, and it was supposed to be warmer, and that just hasn't happened. This is one of the perils that if you come in the off season this late, that you may not get like swimming weather. So just be prepared for like doing other things. There's lots of walking here, there's lots of hiking here. So I'm gonna do some of that hopefully later today, and because that's the best option today, is to go to some of the mountain villages and walk around and see them. Okay, I decided that since I have the car, I would stop at Agiana Beach, not because I'm going to swim, but I've never stopped here. I've swam here, but I've never walked out. There's a church out on the point over here, and I've never walked out to it. So it's a good time to do that. Look at this. This is worth coming up for. Look at the stunning water. And I don't know if you can see off in the distance, and there is a ferry going by, and it is the famous Express Scopoletos. It goes to all of the small Cyclades, and it goes in all weather almost. And it's not a very big boat, so sometimes it's like up and down, and today is pretty windy, but it's not rocking and rolling it like I've seen in some videos. What a great spot for a little church up here, kind of on this little hill. You've got sea views on both sides. It's so cute. It's like the tiny little church. Unfortunately, the door wasn't open, which is pretty common, so I couldn't take you inside. I am now in the village of Filoti, which is the second largest village here in Naxos. Obviously, I'm outside of the village. Stopped on the side of the road to get some nice looking photos of it, and I have a friend with me, and we're gonna go into town and explore. All right, we have made it into town. We've discovered this lovely piece of street art. So this is Schizophrenius, and he has some pieces down in Aliko Beach along with Wild Drawing. And if you've been to Athens, you might know Wild Drawing because he has many pieces there as well. But this one's really cool. And we discovered another one over here. There's actually one around the corner of this building. So who knew you could come to a small village on a Greek island and discover some new street art. So this is the main square, and this is a very large plane tree. And then we're gonna go up these stairs over here. It is so nice to be here when it's not hot. It's beautiful right now. Now, I have been up here on like a bus tour, but it's been many years since I've come up here, so I don't remember much about it, but it's really beautiful. Beautiful church, and there's a museum of Filoti, but it is not open, unfortunately, but it's the wrong time of the day for things to be open. Usually in the villages they're kind of closed by now, but I bet it's interesting. Let's see. Ecclesiastical Folklore Museum of Filoti. All right. That beautiful bougainvillea. But the church is open, so let's go up there. It's very beautiful in here, and some of the best preserved like painting of the ceiling that I have seen in a Greek Orthodox church. So this back wall is from the 1800s, and the center is from the 18th century, and then they have an icon over here that's from the 17th century. So lots of old things. Now, the reason why the ceiling is in good shape is because previously it was white, and then in the 1970s they painted it, and that's why it looks so much newer and in so much better shape. But you can actually see that the center part is definitely much older than the rest of the church. So this is the Barazzi Tower, and so at one point Naxos was sort of ruled by the Venetians, and I believe he was a count, may have that wrong, and there are many of these Venetian towers all over Naxos. Someone lives in this one apparently, but here is the ancient seal of Barazzi. It's very cool, and it's part of the reason that there are Catholic churches in a lot of the Cycladic islands because of the Venetians. We had to come back down to the main village because my friend has to go to work, but you should end every evening in Naxos by watching the sunset. Now, I've missed the main event of it going down, but trust me when I say the sunset only gets better as the sun goes further and further down, because the sky will turn lovely shades of orange and pink and purple. But I may go home and not wait for that, because now that the sun has gone down, it has gotten really chilly out here. Good morning. I'm now in the village of Aperanthos, which is way up in the mountains on Naxos, and it's a nice village. It's not quite as big as Filoti, but it's still a good sized village, and it's one of the pretty ones. There is a tower here similar to the one I showed you in Filoti, but I'm not sure how to get up to it. The last time I was here, I couldn't figure out how to get up to it, so let's see if I can find it today. Okay, I decided before to do any exploring to have another coffee because I've only had one this morning. So here I am having a coffee in a nice little cafe in Aperanthos, and this is the stunning view. Okay, I might have found the way up to the tower. This stairway is sort of hidden. So if you come down the main walk path, you go past the little church that's below the tower. Here is where the stairs are. Let's see if it goes up. Okay, it does. Ooh, their steps are quite steep. But of course, like most of them, you can't go inside. Looks like they even have a doorbell, so someone might live here. Little courtyard. I think most of what you'd want to see is behind this. So that's kind of a shame. But I would say that this village has some of the most amazing views because it's so high up. Actually, the stairs give you a really good view of this side of the tower, and then if you walk around, you can see the other side from down below. Here's the other side, which is way more impressive. You can see the arch and how it's sort of built on the rock. I have now come to a church called Panagia Drosiani. I'm definitely not saying that right. It's a Byzantine era church. It is outside of the village of Moni. So if you come to Naxos and you go to Halki, you can go to Moni, and on the way is this church. Now, if you come, there's almost no place to park. So I'm just sort of sidled up on the side of the road. Not quite sure how I'm going to turn around, but I'll worry about that when I leave. But let's go check it out. This has to be one of the best preserved Byzantine churches I've seen in Greece. A lot of them are sort of in disuse and you can't go inside and it's falling down, but this one's definitely being used. It even has a small cemetery. I haven't gone inside yet because I want to look at the outside. The other thing that I want to note is that Naxos has lots of hiking trails. They're very well marked. As you can see, it tells you how long it's going to take, and these are the little signs that tell you which trail it is and how to follow. So I think you have to go that way if you want to walk to Halki. Now down at Aliko, and there are a couple of beaches at Aliko. One is Hawaii, and then there is like 2 or 3 other beaches. I don't know the names of them, despite having been to them. But I'm at what they on the map is the old hotel ruins, because this is where the other street art is. And usually every year new stuff appears. So I'm gonna walk around a little bit and see if there's anything new. There are many different artists that come and do different pieces down here. Schizophrenics, which I had shown you in Filati, and then Wild Drawing, and then a few others that I don't know all of their names. So far I'm not seeing anything new from last year, but let's walk around and see. These are several years old now. I've been down here when they were much brighter and more intense, and I believe this one was done last year, but it already looks a little bit rough. It kind of looks like to me that there isn't anything new. And I follow Wild Drawing on Instagram, and I haven't seen anything in Athens lately, so maybe he just hasn't come to Greece lately. This is the beach that we come to when we come down to the hotel ruins. It's just down this path. The only other people here are the people in that camper van, and they're still sitting in their van. I've actually never been here and been the only person. There's always been someone else here. I mean, I usually come with friends, but usually there's like one or two other groups of people that are here. And it's Sunday too, so who knows? I guess all the weather has scared a lot of people off, but look, it's stunning. Really doesn't matter how many times I come here, I never get tired of the sunset in Naxos. It's always amazing, and because it sort of sets over Paros, it makes for a stunning view. So this is still Naxos, but over there in the distance is Paros, and this is the lagoon area. I think that's where we'll end this week's video, on a high note with a sunset. I hope you enjoyed all of the parts of Naxos that I showed you this week. There's more coming soon from Naxos. If you enjoyed this and you want to see more, I hope you'll consider subscribing. I will see you guys in the next video.